I love games.
I love games.
And I love games too.
Normally, a lot of you know our stance on pre-orders and the used game business as a whole, but if you do indeed live in North America, this applies to you, so listen up.
Pre-order numbers are used by publishers as forecasting to predict how a game will sell. For well-known franchises like Halo and Mario, these numbers are mostly unnecessary, but with smaller games, we can use this reserve system to our advantage.
GameStop, in exclusive partnership with Nintendo, is bringing Xenoblade Chronicles to North America. Their projections are low, and the sales of this title will have an impact on other Wii exclusives such as The Last Story, Pandora's Tower, and probably more titles on other platforms. If you want to see these games come to our region, now is your chance to show your support.
Even if you are not interested in Xenoblade Chronicles, we would like to encourage you to invest $5 on a pre-order and pick up the game on April 2nd, 2012. This will help ensure that titles such as the ones we have mentioned are localized for Western audiences.
The game is reviewing very well in Europe, and remember, you don't have to buy the game alone, as you and your friends can split the cost and share the game. It may not seem like a big deal now, but someday the game in question could be one that you really want to play.
This message is brought to you by the Gamesmen
and our friends at Nintendo-Oki.com.
Thank you.
Yeah. You paid money for a Skype recorder?
Yeah, I bought one that independently records your voice and the call at the same time, like on different tracks and shit.
But you were able to download one that does the same thing?
Well, this one does the way CallGraph used to do, where it records in the left ear me and in the right ear you guys.
But you don't expect it to work as well?
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to know until I try it, because Dan and I were on. How long were we on? We were on Skype the other day for like 4 hours while I was doing this shit, right?
Yeah, keep it.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
And that's okay.
So,
well, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
So you said you're recording the call, so we're not doing the whole everybody record their own garage band thing.
No. I kind of put the kibosh on that.
So good at shit.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, it never works. Dude, you know how many times we recorded shit for 3 hours and we're like, nothing recorded.
I know.
And it was like the funniest shit I ever said in my life, and I'll never remember it. They try to be funny later on, like after you're all tired, like rehashing jokes.
Like, can we redo this again?
Like, nope.
And boy, are my arms tired.
I just flew in from San Francisco. Thanks, I'll be here all week.
Ben Stein, everybody.
Draw your sword, knock your arrows, and ready your spellbook. It's time for another episode of The Gamesmen. What role will you play?
Gals and Guildies, welcome to episode 71 of The Gamesmen. I am Steve Conger, also known as Jeff to some people, and JSS Lyfeliek to others on basically every gaming service imaginable. And I'm going to be your host for this episode again with a freshly working computer. Yeah, so we're pumped and primed and ready to go tonight. I got a couple of guys with me. First off, back again, Old Faithful, Daniel Knappman, Mr. Hardlydan.
Hey man, how you doing?
What's going on, Dan?
It's so good.
You're back again, man.
Yeah, I'm glued to this chair.
Yeah. Bed sores and all.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know. I mean, it seems like that's all I've been doing too, is just vegged out on the couch doing everything.
Yeah.
Also, back, we haven't heard him in a little bit. It's been a couple months or so. Mr. Yuri Liss, Xcalybr, 713.
AKA not Jeff.
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Nothing, dude. How you been?
I'm doing good. I was on vacation for a little bit.
Yeah.
Now I'm back, ready to record some shit. Stuff. Whatever.
Well, yeah, whatever. Same thing, just stuff. And in the special chair this evening.
Hey, Steve.
The guest chair, if you will, Mr. Chris Matthew. CP, what's up?
Hi, Jeff. How are you? Yeah, I know. No one here is actually named Jeff. It's entirely my fault. That's okay. I'll take it. Hello, everyone. CPM1376, Xbox Live, CPMatthew, PSN, and Steam.
Yeah.
And iOS Game Center, if you're into that.
You are the Jeff culprit.
It is. It's my fault. I apologize. I don't apologize. Deal with it. It's done. It sticks. Take it.
So we're playing some Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, right? I jump in with, I think, who was it, Chris? You and Bongo, and I want to say Cybernaut.
Yeah, it was probably Chris, gamertag Cybernaut, yeah.
And Firefly, maybe?
Yeah, also gamertag, also named Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a full squad of Chris's almost.
And all I hear is, Jeff, get over here, Jeff. Jeff.
I don't know what's wrong with me. For some reason, the gamertag beginning JSS, my brain sees Jeff.
He's like, Jeff, and I'm not answering him.
Too many explosions. I don't know.
I'm totally not answering him. He's like, Jeff. Oh, wait. Oh, so now it's like Jeff to the rescue as soon as I hop in and all kind of stuff, you know.
It is a funny looking gamer tag when you see it running around in your world.
Yeah. You see, it doesn't. It looks normal to me. You know?
Jizzle. What's his name?
Jizzle.
Schmeagle.
Jizzle life.
So what's new with you, Chris?
Mass Effect is new. Well, I guess it's old now. I finished it, but
yeah,
it's still new.
Man, I think we're kind of going to. I don't even know how to put that. All over Mass Effect's face for the next 90 minutes or so.
Bam. Take it.
Yeah.
Take that, Shepard.
Yeah. But first off, Dan, what's new with Hardlydan?
Oh, not much. I'm waiting on my new computer. Completed Mass Effect. Still cold.
Yeah. So you got the Raspberry Pi. You bought it? You ordered it?
I ordered it. Well, I've signed up for to show my the fact I want one, and I'm waiting to hear back on when I can actually expect to receive it.
Cool.
But I'm so excited about that thing. It's going to be so useful for me.
What does that mean? You signed up to let them know you want one?
Well, there's a huge waiting list on them at the moment. And they're restricting everyone to one per customer because they're kind of running short on supplies at the moment. Yes, fantastic bit of kit.
Did the final specs change at all on it?
Yeah, the base model did have 100 and whatever it was, 28 megs of RAM. Now it's up to 256.
That still blows my mind. Like 256 is nothing anymore. Yeah. I mean, the PlayStation 3 will prove that to you.
Yeah, yeah. But it blows my mind the stuff that it can supposedly do. Running Xbox quality games, old Xbox, not 360, obviously. Streaming 1080p over HDMI, it's fantastic. I'm gonna get programming, make my own little game.
So, I mean, theoretically, it could do OnLive.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. There's they're working on a Linux distribution of OnLive. So yeah, I could theoretically be playing.
That's insanity. You realize that?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's genius.
Man. I mean, I guess
I'm thinking I could put one. When it's like running at full capacity, it draws like 3 to 5 watts.
Wow.
You could run one off a car, off a cigarette lighter.
That is like nothing, man.
Yeah, you get a little touch screen. Got a computer in your car.
Jeez, that's disgusting. As long as
I'm gonna have one in my bedroom, my kitchen. I might even put one in my bathroom.
As long as you can power it. I mean, how does it power? How does it plug in?
It takes a mini USB jack. So any phone charger that's got a mini USB output.
You plug it into a hamster's butt.
To save money, I trained these hamsters to row this little boat. It took me 6 weeks to teach a little fat one to say row.
Row. Row. Yeah.
If I can get myself some kind of waterproof casing for it and waterproof screen, I could have a little touch screen in the bath.
I mean, I realize it's a far more expensive solution, but they do make waterproof cases for iPhones and Droid phones, which are essentially mini computers anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, true, but
Much more expensive.
yeah, I mean, I probably won't actually put one in my bathroom.
You got better things to touch in the bathroom anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, but there's always the option of porn in the bath.
That's
That's what your imagination's for.
what I'm saying. Exactly. You just go through your reruns with that one.
Get your own mouse to click. Yuri, how was this tropical vacation?
Tropical was the key word, I suppose. It was fantastic because I wasn't in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But I was on the island of Kauai in Hawaii, and I was there for 14 days. I think it rained for 10 of them. And I don't mean like rain, like outside Florida rain, and then it stops. I mean like rained, like there were midgets dancing on the roof kind of rain. Like the whole time I was there. But I mean, it was cool to get away. Got stuck there for a little while because there was flooding. So I was supposed to be back about a week ago, but just got back recently.
Man.
But it was cool, man. I was excited to come back home and had SSX and Mass Effect 3 waiting for me. So I'm about a week behind everybody, but I'll catch up. I had my Vita with me, so I was not out of the loop completely.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that. I want to talk a little bit about that, too.
Yeah, we can talk a lot about it, a little bit. It's all right. I love it.
Well, you know me, it's been, obviously, the last time that I had been heard from, I was crapping myself and all kind of other stuff, because I was sick, but I've had sort of a nasty few days. I come home on Thursday. I was all excited because I was off the weekend. I was off Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend. Man, I get home and I wake up the home theater PC because it's on the TV, and as soon as I wake it up, I have the browser open. I have Firefox open, and it says threat detected, Trojan, and I'm like, wait a minute, where the hell did that come from? It was just sitting on the screen. I tried to quarantine it. It wouldn't let me. I tried to move it to the vault. It wouldn't let me. The only option that let me go forward was to allow it. So not even thinking, I probably should have just turned the machine off and turned it back on, just to see what happened. But, stupid ass me wasn't thinking. I clicked allow, and it instantly shut my computer down and would not start back up. I was mad. So apparently I don't know. I guess it was sort of like some kind of boot Trojan that affected the boot sector of my hard drive, and Windows would not even load. I don't know if part of that is due to Windows Vista. Could very well be. But it advised me to do a repair on Windows, and every time I've done a repair, it's never worked. Ever.
But it worked this time.
Ever.
No, I always love that. Would you like Windows to try to fix the problem? Oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
It's never worked, ever.
So, I put the Vista disk in, and me, like, I'm super anal about this kind of stuff. So, for me, when I got this new home theater PC case, I peeled the product code sticker off the side of my old case. I encased it in, like, cellophane packing tape. Like, I sort of laminated it myself, like home laminate. And I put that inside the sleeve with the disc in it, and that is taped to the top of my optical drive inside my case. So I always know where my disc is going to be, right? So I pull the disc out, open the case up, pull the disc out, put the disc in the drive, and go to the install, the actual boot from CD Windows install, and try to do the repair. It says repair completed successfully. I go to start the thing up. It still does the same thing. It did absolutely nothing. So it ended up that I had to use my little kit to plug the hard drive in to the netbook with a SATA to USB converter cable, and copy everything over, like back up all my stuff from my primary partition on this hard drive to the secondary partition on the same drive. But the problem was the netbook has the little Atom processor in it, so as soon as I started to copy all this stuff over, it said 132 minutes remaining. It was awful.
That's 2 hours.
I know, but the thing is, it should copy faster than that. Because Dan and I were talking, we wanted to record something, and it just, time just wouldn't allow it. So
it doesn't sound like that much time to me to move all your files from your computer.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, for the most part, I keep all of my stuff on that secondary partition, like my backup partition. My wife, who kind of, really doesn't know better, saves all of her pictures and everything on the primary partition. So that's most of the stuff that I had to copy over, because if I had deleted that, I'd have never heard the end of it, So, but yeah, Dan and I were kind of on Skype for like 4 hours the other day, and it's weird, man. Like now I'm getting certain times I try to install things. It's telling me like what was it, Dan? The side-by-side configuration is incorrect or something like that?
Yeah, that was a new one for me.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I even Googled it, and I can't find any solution to that stuff. It is weird as hell. But I got it back up and running. I had to download some older versions of software that I was using because the new ones were doing that side-by-side error, whatever the hell that is. And, man, yeah, that's been like my last few days. So instead of, I guess it was kind of cool because, sitting there letting Windows install and stuff like that kind of let me sit there and play Mass Effect. So that was kind of nice. But, I guess enough babbling about my computer. Chris, what is new in the life of CPM?
Well, so as I mentioned earlier, I guess we weren't on the air yet. I teach, and last week was spring break for my students, and so I said, you know what, I'm taking spring break as well. But I didn't go anywhere. I sat in my house and played video games, which was a great spring break.
Nice.
So I finished Kingdoms of Amalur, and I finished Mass Effect 3 on the Insanity run, which was pretty challenging. And that was pretty much my week as gaming goes.
Those are two pretty big ones, man.
It was good fun. I really liked Kingdoms of Amalur right up until the end. I mean, we can talk about it later. There were a few little niggles here and there, but overall, I thought it was a really quality game. I really enjoyed it, and they've announced some DLC soon, so I'm looking forward to that. Should be good.
Pretty damn good for a first attempt, I gotta say.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I hope that this company makes more games because I will buy them up. I think their cross promotion with Mass Effect 3 was probably the best move they made because I want all the Mass Effect 3 I can get. So I find out there's a demo that's free and I can get some stuff from Mass Effect 3. I'm on it. And oh look, I like the game. So
well, you know what? In hindsight, as buggy as that demo was, I think that demo did a lot for that game as far as like public awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, no one heard about it until they're like, oh, Mass Effect 3? Well,
yeah, it was pretty good, man. Well, and speaking of Mass Effect 3, let's get into a little bit of game talk. We might as well. There's no point in avoiding it anymore.
Okay.
boys, the 800-pound Omni tool in the room. We're not going to be able to get by without even talking about it. So we may just, I guess, just give the people what they want right up front. So I have some notes here. Do you want to hear mine? Do any of you want to say anything first about the game, what you played so far? Yuri, I know you haven't finished it. Chris and Dan and I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, spoiler-free now, we're going to come back after the close of the show, and we're going to talk a little bit about the ending controversy that has been sort of rifling through the gaming world, as it were. But for right now, I guess purely mechanical thoughts on the game.
He said niggles. It took everything in me not to say nothing to. I was like,
Sorry.
I said little niggles.
I don't know where I got that one from. It's just one of those weird things, right?
I was like, I'm using that for the rest of my life. That's fantastic.
So if we're talking Mass Effect 3, mechanically it was very similar to Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
The combat style was almost exactly like Mass Effect 2. The leveling up system was exactly like Mass Effect 2. So if you liked Mass Effect 2, certainly you're going to like this one again. I had some beef early on with some of the level design, and I sent you a few messages, Steve, expressing my frustration.
Yeah.
Some of the levels were just a little cheap, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is there's one mission side quest early on where you have to go rescue some students from a school.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're working your way through that, on Insanity, you're clawing for every inch of ground that you take. And so you're pushing them back and pushing them back and pushing them back. And you think you've got yourself a good elevated covered position and you're starting to work on the bad guys. And all of a sudden a door opens up behind you and 3 more bad guys walk in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really? Thanks. So some of that was kind of annoying. Some of the bits where they trap you in an arena, so you're running through the dungeon, we'll call it, because it's an RPG and we clear out dungeons and RPGs. And you come to a wall that's too high to jump back up once you jump down. And you're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen when I jump down here. And sure enough, you jump down there and then shit comes out of everywhere and you're surrounded. And that, I felt, got a little bit away from what made Mass Effect 1 and 2 really good to me. It was such a neat blend of role-playing statistics with cover-based tactical shooter mechanics. And so trapping you in an arena takes away from that.
Yes.
Early on that happened a lot, but later it was much more isolated, so I didn't have as many beefs with it.
I think that they were a lot more, in the maps, I'm saying, they were a lot more segmented. Like you said, there were a lot of places where you would drop off an edge. And if you didn't thoroughly explore, I mean, you're missing weapon mods and all kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of didn't like. I mean, I understand it, but to cordon off sections of a map like that, I don't like that. I like to be able to go back, lure enemies back into like a choke point. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And there were places where you kind of could do that, but for the most part, I mean, they really kind of left you open, like everything was an arena.
Yeah, a lot of the early missions were, yeah. I mean, again, some of the later missions you could cover and creep forward, but
yeah.
Some of the earlier missions, especially against the Reapers, you got trapped.
Well, Yuri, how about you? You have played the least, so I want to hear what you have to say about it so far.
The beginning, it does feel a lot just like Mass Effect 2. Now that I'm a little further in it, the biotic powers feel the same. The shooting feels pretty much the same. The thing I like about this one, which is huge for me, is the thing about the other ones, when you would pick a certain, like the first Mass Effect, I didn't pick a soldier, and I could only use like my pistol through the whole game. And I was like, I can't get another weapon. If I'd have known that, I would have picked a different class. So when the second one came around, they let you use a couple more weapons, but you still couldn't use every weapon with each class. So in this one, what I was really excited about was when I found that I could use the sniper rifle, the shotgun, the assault rifle, the SMG, pistol, machine pistol, whatever I wanted to use. I could use any combination of them. I'm not really a fan of how they slow down your biotic powers if you use more of them, because I wanted to keep them all equipped.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like that penalty. So if you have more equipped, then your powers regenerate slower.
Yeah, I want to get to that in a second too. Yeah.
But I mean, once I got kind of into it and realized I wasn't using all 5 weapons anyway, I kind of picked 2, ran with them. My biotics power up, 100% faster now. So I'm kind of over that part, but I don't like how you have to go to different. I want to just change my weapons on the fly. I don't want to have to go to a station to change my weapon or see one on the ground to pick it up, open up my, my weapon tree. And then, But then you can't go back if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
It took me a while because I kept saying just equip, and it would put it in or I'd drop it and put it in my hand. I never got to that screen for the first couple hours I played. So I didn't know you could even change your weapons for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't hold your hand enough for some of the stuff. Like I never really know where I'm going. Like I don't really like how the journal, you can see like the 20 missions you picked up, but they don't really tell you what to do until you go to the galaxy menu, like always. But when I'm in the mission, I feel like I don't really have direction, even though the boards are kind of small. Every now and then you just have to look around until you see the green thing on the door.
Yeah.
Like, where's the green thing on the door? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this while you're there. These are 2 of the things that I have written down here.
Yeah.
Worst quest log ever.
Yeah, not that great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And worst map system ever.
No, I don't mind the map system. I like the map system.
You're talking about press the right or left stick in, and it brings up the map.
But it tells you who you have to talk to, and then once you talk to them, they disappear if they're not like reoccurring characters. So I thought that was fantastic because I didn't miss out on things I had to do.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I didn't like it. Only for the fact of, like, let's say that you head to the embassies, okay? On the Citadel. You head to the embassies, and it says that this character is waiting for you to give them this in the embassy offices or something like that. Well, here, the embassy offices, it tells you is number 4 or whatever. It's that wide open area with the service counter. And here, that person that you have to talk to is all the way down at the end of the hall up the steps. It just doesn't explain it enough. If it would have showed you the map and said, okay, this character is standing in area number 4, and show a little blip of where they were standing, it would be a different story.
But the areas are so small anyway, and the character's going to have a circle around their body when you see them, so I don't really... The little 5 extra seconds I got to walk down the hall to see dude's blip doesn't really... Does that really bother you that much?
Well, the reason why it bothered me, it wouldn't have bothered me so much in Mass Effect 2 because I think that the characters were highlighted as usable from a longer distance away. Like, they completely cut down the distance of where you would see items and people that you could talk to and use.
Yeah, that is noticeable.
Yeah.
You have to get closer before it pops up.
Big time. Or angle the camera in the right way.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No,
I think they did that to make... So in Mass Effect 2, you had to do the same kind of finding weapon upgrades and all that, but it was really easy because if something you wanted to pick up was on the map and you looked in the right direction, it would glow, no matter how far away you were.
Mm-hmm.
So during Mass Effect 2, I would literally I would kill all the enemies, stand in the middle of the room, and spin around until I saw something glow. I'd go pick that up. So I think they wanted to I think that's why they did that.
A little more exploration.
Yeah.
See, I mean, it doesn't bother me either way. I noticed it, but it wasn't something that I didn't note it down when I was taking notes on the game.
Yeah, it's a minor thing, but
the biggest problem is the switching of the discs.
Yes,
that is the biggest problem in the entire game. I don't understand it. I sat there and I thought I figured out from the menu what the side quests were and what the main quests were because you told me that they were each on each disc. So I was like, I'll do a couple side quests in a row. That way I don't have to switch the discs. Well, I guess one of my side quests linked into a main quest. And all of a sudden, I'm switching the disc back and forth. And I'm just sitting there like I got up 3 times in like the half an hour I was sitting in my chair. And I'm like, this is the opposite of what I'm trying to do right now.
It's not fun. That is not fun.
No, I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand how you design a game like that. And switching it halfway sucks. But switching it a couple times a day is that's not acceptable.
We're so spoiled.
I didn't have a huge amount of problem with the discs. I think in the entire game, I probably swapped them maybe 4 or 5 times at the most.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Maybe
a lot.
Or you played your disc. I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth.
But you know what? In hindsight, I would have, because I'm still running that little 20 gig hard drive on my Xbox, right?
Yeah.
In hindsight, I would have totally installed disc 2 and played from disc 1 instead of vice versa.
It doesn't work that way, homie.
It doesn't work?
I installed both discs. Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. It wouldn't let me install the second disc.
Are you kidding me?
That's weird because the thing is, when you start on disc 1, and you swap out, then the majority of the game you're playing on disc 2, and then the ending is back on disc 1.
See, not for me. I saved those kids on disc 2, and then as soon as I got back to the city or got back to my ship and started another quest, I just switched back to disc 1.
Yeah, I did that
now I'm on
at
disc
the beginning.
1, and then I just did something else that made me switch back to. I switched 3 times today already.
It'll do that. I think once you get to, I want to say the whole Krogan mini story arc thing. I think you'll stay on disc 2 from there until the ending. I think.
I hope so, because
I think so.
I think you have to go back to disc 2 for the ending, or disc 1. I mean, I think you're right. Yeah. I think that the side missions are on disc 2. So, like going to save those kids from the academy, that was a side mission.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was on disc 2.
I think I went right to the Krogan thing. I think it took me back to disc 1 again.
Yeah, I think so.
It may have. It's possible.
Now, I did a whole chunk of side quests all in one go. So
I tried to
do it so much.
You shouldn't have to know a route to navigate the game to save yourself.
No,
you know what I mean? Like I should.
Well, I mean, look at Mass Effect 3, and as great of a game as it is, and probably is. I mean, I think obviously, if you don't think so, I think you're probably an idiot. That it's going to be in consideration for Game of the Year come December.
It has to be.
Each one of these versions had a fatal flaw. The incessant disc swapping on the 360. The 20 frames per second drops on the PS3, and the no Xbox 360 controller support on the PC.
Well, how about the non-importing my face of my Shepherd?
Well, you know what? Let me get to that, because I have this down here. I couldn't import my face. Okay, and I know I'm one of many.
Can't feel my face.
Not so much here.
I can feel my face. I just can't feel my face. So, being me, I scoured the web for a workaround. And you remember me talking about this. I was telling you about this a lot, and it really bugged the hell out of me. Like, I was to the point where I didn't even want to start the game because I would be playing with something that is not my shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? For 40, 50 hours. So I booted up Mass Effect 2. From like a pre-ending save, I made a new ending save. So I played through and finished it again. Then that didn't work. So I re-imported my original ending Mass Effect 2 save to restart Mass Effect 2, then get to the point where Shepard wakes in the server space, and then the workaround told me that then I can copy that save over to a USB thumb drive and bring it to the computer and get the code for my face and type it back in Mass Effect 3, okay? The only problem is the only thumb drive I have wasn't compatible with the 360. So this is the shit I was going through trying to play Mass Effect 3. So it ended up that I did what just about everybody else did, was boot Mass Effect 2, take a snap of my Shepard from there, and I recreated him, but then I added the aged sort of texture on his face to kind of make him look weathered, and he's been through all this shit. But the thing is, like I said, I was going to spend 40 or 50 hours with some Shepard that isn't mine, and I realized that it's like an esoteric argument thing, but I didn't want that.
No, it's like, what's the point? Why did I even make this character to follow through to the third game if I can't use him?
Yeah.
No, I can see that.
See, luckily though, when I went to I didn't do all those steps in the middle because that was supposed to happen. But I just decided to make my guy again. I went back and looked at the old one, looked at him, was like, oh, okay, he looks different. Went to the new one, and there's really not that many sliders on the faces, so there's only there's 7 different categories. You kind of know they're all completely different. So you can tell which one your face is. So my remake of my Shepard pretty much looks exactly like my old one.
Yeah.
To the point where it doesn't bother me whatsoever. So, I can give them the credit for that. It's almost like they knew that it wasn't going to work. So they made it so we could, the easiest possible way to remake our face. But I have
that issue because I just never bothered changing the face.
And I think I think you're onto something that maybe playing with the default Shepard would have been the way to go.
It was fine, booted it up. Oh, there's my Shepard.
Yeah. So I played them all with the default face as well. And
really?
Yeah, but I can see your argument because when I watch videos, if someone's made a video of Mass Effect and I hear Shepard's voice coming from a custom face that they've made, I'm like, well, that's the wrong guy.
Exactly. It's weird.
So I understand where you're coming from, but I just left the default face in there because that was I'm lazy and I just wanted to get playing the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, see, there's only a couple other things I love the save system. I'm really big into save systems. You can on the fly save, you can save, hard save, and they auto save for you. So you pretty much never get stuck with you shouldn't, as long as you know how to save your games, you should never get stuck in a place where you can't get out of, whether the game glitches or you make a mistake and want to redo it or whatever. But I still think that the Citadel and the Normandy are 2 of the most boring places I've ever played a game at.
Yeah.
And I can understand how people could. I gave my friend Mass Effect 2 and he hated it. And I know why, because he didn't really realize you had to keep going to the galaxy he kept getting stuck talking to people on his ship, and it's boring as hell. And sometimes you have to do it because there's certain things you want to talk to people when there's things to unlock, and it's just such a pain in my ass.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate the Citadel. The place sucks.
You know what I hated on the ship was those 2 twats at the security checkpoint. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the worst part is every time after a mission, it boots you back to the comm room, which is right outside the war room. So in order to pass through there, you have to go through that stupid checkpoint with those 2 twats that are nothing more than a loading disguise screen to get you back out to the CIC.
You notice they did a lot of loading disguising.
Yeah, there was a ton, man.
And it's really, I guess it's better than the elevator, but still, it's do we really have... You guys can't compress this a little more? The world's not that big.
Well, the textures were head and shoulders above anything I've seen out of BioWare ever.
Yeah, but not head and shoulders out of everything I've seen against other people.
Well, but that's kind of apples and
the last thing I
tricycles.
can say about the game, because I'm not that far, but it seems to me that when the galaxy is ending, there's really not that much of an urgency. Who's doing side quests when my world's ending? Now the world is... is Earth already dead? Do we just assume that when we left it was over? And that's because I don't understand, other civilizations are getting murdered and they're finished, but we're still trying to collect people to go help us fight. They're leaving their world to help us. I don't know. I'm just kind of want to see a little more urgency when my family's on the line.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, the game shooting fantastic. The story's good. I'm getting lost inside the game. As long as you continue to go to the galaxy and play the missions and don't get lost talking to people too much, I don't know. I'm excited to get finished. I can't believe you guys beat it already.
Well, I do think that you were kind of hitting on something there. And Dan, I don't know if you played this because I didn't, but to me, the Arrival DLC from Mass Effect 2 should have kind of been the opening to this game.
Yeah.
See, I never played that.
I didn't either.
See, I found the Arrival DLC to be kind of a letdown when I played it, because it was kind of, you didn't play with your squad. It was just Shepard going solo. You know, certainly there's a small little story piece there that fits in, but overall it just kind of, I don't know, I found that one to be kind of meh.
But I mean, don't you think that the game should have opened up saying, okay, we have Reapers on long range sensors, right?
Yeah.
And then why would you ever send away the savior of the galaxy when you're getting your ass handed to you? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I get it.
He was working for the enemy.
I know.
There should have been a couple, like a 10-hour like load up or so. The beginning of the game should have been getting ready for the Reapers. They're right on the edge of the galaxy. They're about to be here. Let's go collect everybody and get them all ready.
Yeah.
Instead of, we're getting blown up. We'll go out there and do something.
Yeah.
I guess it's because nobody believed us. But I thought after last game that they now believed us.
No.
And what I want to know is, I'm really interested to see what, like, did you guys all? I gave that collector stuff to the Cerberus against my will. I mean, against my good judgment, I let them have it. Now, the whole game revolves around me giving that shit to them, and I'm just wondering, how would the game flow out if I never gave them that?
I don't think it actually comes into play until the very end game.
And I don't think that it matters.
But I mean, just the way people talk to me and like some of the missions I went on, it just...
Yeah.
I wonder if they just, you know...
Well, I was thinking, like, this is just a minor thing here, but you know the Ravagers, the rocket shooting bug things, those are Rachni that have been converted by the Reapers. And so I was thinking to myself, well, okay, I chose to save the Rachni Queen in Mass Effect 1. If I didn't do that, would I have no Ravagers in Mass Effect 3?
Yeah.
But apparently you will. And I was kind of disappointed in that. I was like, that should be one of those things that would be like, that was a decision that bit me in the ass because I saved the Queen. And if I had decided to be a dick and not save the Queen, then I would have not had to face this pain in the butt enemy.
Well, see, in the beginning, sort of, where I saved the council. And so I wanted to know what would happen. Like, in the beginning of this one, it starts off, you go, we got to go get the council's permission. Well, what if I let them die and there's no council to get permission? Then I can just go right to doing what I do. I mean, and that's not how the story probably works if you killed them, but in my head, that's what I would think would happen.
Mm-hmm. I would probably assume
they build a new council, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would assume council. That.
Yeah. There were a few decisions that didn't really carry forward. Like at the end of Mass Effect 1, you had the option to either recommend Udina or Anderson to become the first human counselor. And I recommended Anderson, but then when I got to Mass Effect 2, it was Udina anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a letdown. I mean, they for reasons of disk space limitations, there's some things that have to be common to everyone's experience.
Yeah.
If you were going to write a game that could have all the possible combinations, there would be gigabytes of data on the disk that you may never access as the user based on the way you made decisions previously. So who knows?
Well, I know that I was a dick to Jessica Chobot. I didn't even let her on the ship, man.
Are you kidding
me?
With
her.
She's
Fuck
bad.
her. Fuck her.
I'm trying to. That's why I let her on my ship. They don't give you the option to hit it though. I'm just like, you just talk to her, tell her to get off. I'm like, no, let's
God.
Go together.
I'm like, please, will you go jump off a cliff, please?
I love her in real life and in my video game.
Oh, she can't act, can she?
No. No. It was pretty bad. I will say that a lot of those like fetch side quests were kind of crap. I don't know, but that being said, I did a shit ton of them.
There's the nature of a fetch side quest, though.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like the fetch side quest might not have been so bad if the quest log was better.
Everything that kind of pissed me off a little bit has been gone over. So what I really liked though was eavesdropping. I loved walking around and just hearing all these people talking. Like there's Sari and the human woman having a chat whenever you get onto the Citadel, into the markets. And, I love just standing behind people, listening to their stories, and it made the world feel so rich, and it was fantastic. Oh, I want to play it again.
It was kind of odd, though, when, like, these quests pop up just from hearing random stuff.
Yeah, I'd loved that.
Well, but the weird...
Even the ones that didn't give you quests, just,
Yeah.
hearing that woman splitting up with a bloke, which because she thought that Asari loved her, and then it's like, well, no, I'm dumping you. That's brilliant.
Can I throw something in here real quick?
Yeah.
I was listening to Veteran Gamers, and Cheney was on about Deus Ex and how or maybe it was Stu, how the people in the environment never really change. You know, they're always doing the same things and saying the same things.
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty good job of having your crew members move around the Normandy at different parts in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's the one time where...
And the Citadel, too.
Yeah, in the Citadel. You know, like one of the best was I went down into Deck 3, and Garrus and James are sitting there trying to one-up each other with war stories. And I was like, that is such a perfect... That's what soldiers do when they're bored.
Yeah.
So I like that. But there was a few of them that annoyed me. There was one human who was puking his guts out in front of the Purgatory Club the entire time I was playing the game. I was like, this guy did not have anything left in his stomach. So, maybe a small change there for that poor soul.
Speaking of James was like the most meat-headed, like useless character. But now wait a second. He was my Krogan.
Yeah, he was the tank.
Yeah, he was totally my Krogan.
Well, he had the Krogan abilities. He had, the Carnage ability, which was the Krogan thing in Mass Effect 1. He was very useful in the early missions, especially if you weren't playing as a soldier class.
Well, I would always take him. I played as a Sentinel, so I was sort of like a blend, And I would always take him. Garrus was pretty much like a mainstay with me. But I would take him for the fleshy stuff. I would take
the fleshy
Edie.
stuff.
Yeah, for the fleshy stuff, the squishy stuff. I would take Edie for the Geth for the that sort of like robot stuff. And then it all depended. I would kind of change things up. Maybe I would take Liara when I knew I was going to fight Cerberus, because that way we could keep she could singularity them up in the air and.
Yeah.
But
I took her on every mission. For that reason.
Too.
Yeah.
I always took her and Tali because I was playing as a soldier class, and those two just really helped complement.
See, my big thing is a lot of times I don't care what their powers are, because you're pretty much going to win the fight. Just take one of the biotics and one of the soldier shooters, because I'm in the middle anyway, so I just need a little more power on either side. But the thing that got me is I liked when I knew I was going to see people that I already knew, so I took Garrus and Liara, like when I went took the Rex to go down to Solarians and, whatever, do that part.
Yeah.
And when I popped out and talked to that one guy, like, he knew everybody in the party and was like, hey, and it was like a reunion. Where a lot of times I'll take people, like in the last one in Mass Effect 2, I would take the people I wanted in battle. But when we got into the character situations with that character, they didn't really fit in that part of, like, what I wanted to do. It wasn't the part I wanted to see in the story.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, I don't know that dude, so you don't get anything out of that. But so now I've been taking the characters that I want to see in that part of the world, like, more methodically. And there's a lot of story elements they give you, just little banter back and forth between the characters that I think is a lot better than the last game.
That's interesting. That kind of changes. So playing it on the insane difficulty, I always took the characters that I wanted for their abilities. I never thought of it from the standpoint of their interactions with the environment. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm playing on just regular, so whatever normal is,
I will say that I think that it matters a lot more than it ever did before. Like your party makeup, and this is sort of what I wanted to get to when I mentioned how Mass Effect 1 was like super space opera RPG, right? Then we move a little more towards shooter in Mass Effect 2 with RPG elements, and Mass Effect 3 has sort of perfected the blend and kind of fallen back to RPG Earth a bit, I guess. And like you said, it was all about, you didn't have an inventory, but in place of this inventory was this meter that either penalized you or awarded you for not carrying as many weapons or lighter weapons. The mods for the weapons, which, for your SMG, you could find SMG ultralight materials, which lightened the load, but it also took up one of the 2 slots. I love that. That, to me, in conjunction with being able to slow down and use the wheel, made this feel more like an RPG than 2 ever was.
Yeah, they brought back, I think they listened to the criticism. I'll give them that. BioWare listens to the criticism, and they took a lot of that stuff out of 1, made 2 more of a shooter, but they brought back a lot of the little elements that didn't complicate the RPG-ness of it, but at the same time gave us extra things we can do and customize our own experience.
Yeah.
Like with the mods on the weapons. That's huge. I love that.
It was great. I thought that was awesome to bring back because I missed that. I mean, that's only one step away from being able to condense things down and break it down into Omnigel. You know?
But if you could just do it while you're anywhere in the game, that's what I just don't want to have to go to a station to go mess with my weapons.
Well, I think
that.
to do that, you're going to have an inventory system, and they're not too big on having an inventory system.
I mean, they have the system. You just can't access it whenever you want. It's already there.
Yeah.
It's just hidden.
I think the bigger emphasis on armor pieces this time, too, helped a lot.
That was neat. But
what did you guys
use? Did you guys use like the unlockable pre-order collectible stuff, or did you just pick up and make your own armors?
I made my own.
I made my own. I bought some of this. I bought like the Dragon Age armor because it was there, and I thought I might give it a go. Never did in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I ended up having that recon helmet that just covers your whole face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was awesome. And I loved the fact that you could pick and choose lots of different bits, or just get the Cerberus armor if you felt like that was what you wanted. You know, it didn't seem to make a huge amount of difference, the perks with the armor.
It did if you stacked them up right.
Yeah.
So by the end of the game, you start off with the N7 armor, which puts all your bonus in health.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the game, I had put all my bonuses in weapon damage and headshot damage, because as a soldier class with the adrenaline rush ability maxed out, I could really take advantage of that and take down the enemies really quickly. So I preferred that. I liked it. I thought it was quite good. They had that in 2, although it wasn't quite as detailed and as effective.
It seems like there's a lot more pieces this time.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I know, like, let's say that I went on a mission. Like, so let's say I went to save those students at that station, and I found that either my shield was, depleting way too fast, or it wasn't charging fast enough on one mission. Okay, so I would go back to my armor and I would tweak pieces to make it regenerate faster. You know what I mean? So by my performance in a previous mission was how I gauged what I needed to do with the armor pieces that I had.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
I don't know. Overall, I'm super impressed with the game. And I think we're, like I said, we're going to come back after the end of the show and discuss the whole ending controversy. But was there anything else you guys wanted to get in?
Yeah, I loved how it worked with Kinect.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain that, because I never tried it yet.
Basically, you can just say, Liara Singularity, and it'll go on the targeted person. And it works really well. Instead of having to bring up the wheel and basically pause the game, you can just tell your squad what to do. And you can change ammos. So, you just say incendiary ammo, and then you're using incendiary ammo. It was absolutely fantastic.
There was
you don't have to stand up while you do it, do you?
No. It doesn't use. It only basically uses the microphone on Kinect.
Pew pew pew.
I don't know why you can't do it on the PC.
There's a nice Easter egg in there. If you have a shotgun equipped and you say boomstick, it will equip your shotgun.
Nice.
Yeah, I heard it does quick save too if you yell quick save or something.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
That's what I heard. Yeah,
I just kept tapping the back button.
Mm-hmm. That was genius.
That was a great feature. Yeah. At the start of the game, I used the Kinect. I tried using it a lot for the battle commands, but I found that I needed, like you were talking about, Steve, I needed to slow the action down with the power wheel. To get my bearings and make sure I was doing things, prioritizing targets. So certainly using the Kinect kept the pace of it if that's what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I was impressed with how accurate it was. I only had to repeat myself once or twice.
Yeah.
I found
so that was good.
It helped if I was listening to the game sound through some headphones.
Yeah.
Didn't always. And there was one case where, because you can use it for the conversation selection as well, and there was one point where it picked up what one of the characters was saying, and obviously it sounded something like what one of the choices were, and it made the choice for me. And it wasn't I was like, damn it.
That's the one thing I was going to say also I forgot is the one thing I did not like about now, all these things, most of the stuff I said about the game is negative just because it's the easiest stuff to point out. The game's fantastic. The presentation was great. Story's great. If you played the other two, definitely play it. That's why you guys already beat it. It's only been out for 2 weeks. But I would say the one thing that I didn't like that's easily remedied by using headphones is that the sound design, it seemed everything's really loud. The shooting's loud. The explosions are loud. But it's like watching a movie where just the voices are really quiet and sometimes a little muffled. And I'd turn my surround, not through my TV, but through my surround sound. And I'd turn it up and, at night or something, I live in an apartment and it's pretty loud. And so I'm trying to hear the voices and get into the story, but everything around me is just too loud. So I noticed I put on headphones and it seems to bring everything to kind of the same sound level. I don't know if it's just the way it's programmed or what, but I got a lot better experience out of using the headphones with the game than I did playing through my surround sound.
Oh, I also noticed the sound seemed to go a bit crap towards the end of the game.
I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't notice that.
It almost sounded like my speakers were blowing at times when there was a lot going on screen.
No, I didn't pick up on that either.
It was when you're in London. I noticed it towards the end of that bit.
I was talking about Evar, and I will say, best smoke effect ever. It's so awful. I hate it, but it's so good. It's that good.
That smoke screen ability is terrible. I mean, terrible when they use it. It looks nice.
Yeah, I love that sniper scope, though.
And I guess, Chris, we should probably mention multiplayer, I guess, before we wrap this up.
Before we put it to bed, I already said it on the Overseas Connection. I still was a bit disappointed with the way the multiplayer was designed.
Yeah.
It's kind of a survival mode.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's just something cool about playing Mass Effect with your friends.
Yeah.
And it is fun. I just was hoping for more of a mission structure.
Yeah, rather than horde mode.
Right. Something more akin to the Battlefield 2 or Battlefield 3 co-op or the the GRAW 2 co-op or something like that. I do like that it ties into your single player campaign. That's pretty clever through the galactic readiness and also through promoting your war assets.
Yeah.
To increase your strength. That's cool.
Doesn't seem to make all that much of a difference, though.
I think the multiplayer can serve as a substitute for doing some of the scanning side quests that you weren't a big fan of. Because if you get a class to level 20, so I got my engineer class to level 20, and I had 3 characters unlocked, and so I promoted them, and so I got an N7 Special Ops squad as part of my war assets that was worth 75 military strength.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if I had all 4 of them, if that would have given me 100. That might be something worth trying out. So certainly, so on top of doubling your military strength by taking your galactic readiness from 50% to 100%, you can also add those squads. My dog likes the squads too.
Yeah.
He's a biotic dog. I'm fixing to go warp him out the door.
Now that was a useless piece of DLC.
What?
With the with the N7 edition, you got this robot dog, and all he does is go around the hangar. Scanning stuff, and every now and then you see him, and he's like, "Oh, good dog."
Yeah. There's just some random robo. So you remember the little canine robots that would charge you in Mass Effect 2?
Yeah.
You have one of those in the hangar bay. That's your little buddy.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently left behind by one of the crew that was retrofitting the Normandy while you were in house arrest.
Yeah.
And yeah, literally, it just walks around, and if you happen to get right in the just right spot to press the A button, Shepard will say, "Good dog."
Yeah.
Wow. That's
my guides. He reprimanded my dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't nice to it at all. He's like told it to like get away or something.
Lubricating the floor or something.
Did you guys get the space hamster?
I didn't go find that.
No.
I know it's there, but I didn't.
I was just downstairs, like in the bottom place, and all of a sudden this thing ran across the floor, and I was like, "Ooh, what's that?" And it had like a little, like a highlighted thing above its face. And then if you wait, every 15 seconds, it runs back and forth on the floor, and you can catch it and put it up in your room in this little hamster house thing.
I never saw that. That's a reference from Baldur's Gate, isn't it?
Sure. I don't know.
The space hamster was in Mass Effect 2, but I do think it came from Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's a miniature giant space hamster, wasn't it? And in Baldur's Gate, they talk about... Anyway.
I had a question for you guys also. I can't figure out, in the last game when you would scan the planets, I hated it, but I understood it. This time, I hold down the scan button. It scared me at first because if you scan something, the Reapers are going to come. So I was like, well, I don't want to scan this place because I'm not trying to fight Reapers. But then I saved, and then I went scanning everything. Nothing pops up. No Reapers show up. It does nothing whatsoever.
You're not scanning in the right place.
Yeah. So there's 2 scans, right? That when you're in the solar system map and you're flying the little Normandy around, you press the sonar button, and EDI will say, "I found something." And then you go orbit that planet and you start the scanner, right? When you pull the left trigger, there'll be a little arrow in the reticle that says, "No, go this way."
Yeah,
and
it's the same as 2 at that point. It's just the fact that you're not scanning for everything. You're only scanning for one thing, and that's it.
But not all of the locations.
So what do you mean there's... EDI never said it. I just pulled the left trigger and just so if nothing happens, then there's just nothing there?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there are some locations where if you scan, the Reapers won't come anyway. You'll get a little bar at the bottom that'll show you how alert they are to your scanning in the presence. Generally, if they come, then there's probably something to.
So what if they come? Do you have to fight them, or do you just bounce and like?
You got to run
away.
Yeah. And I think it said, didn't it say after you leave for a while, the alertness will go down, and then you can come back and scan some more. So.
And you get an achievement for escaping them as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was not.
There's no
very
achievement
difficult.
for the hamster.
No, which is a shame.
Yes, I was kind of mad.
Well, I will say, sort of just kind of wrapping this up, that as far as a Mass Effect game goes, this seems to be the complete package as far as I have spent hours playing multiplayer and I have spent hours playing single player and had a lot of fun doing both.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's the best of the three, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, I think from a complete game perspective, I still think that the narrative in Mass Effect 1 was the best. But this one, as a culmination story, I think it's pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Do you think maybe that's because the narrative in Mass Effect 1 was new and there weren't any continuity issues to poke holes in?
I think that's possible because I'm almost positive. I mean, from me playing 40 hours of Mass Effect 3, I think there was a lot of shit that was retconned.
Yeah.
I really do. But when you have a game like that branches off in maybe pseudo branches off in so many different directions, I think that's going to happen. But definitely, to me, is going to be in discussion for Game of the Year come December.
I got two quick thoughts.
Okay.
One, if you have an iPhone or iPad and you haven't checked out Mass Effect 3 Datapad or Mass Effect Datapad, you ought to. It's a free app. It's pretty clever. And there's a little point and click and wait game a la Mafia Wars that actually serves to increase your galactic readiness in-game. So might as well. And then two, I saw a really funny joke on YouTube. Someone had put up a YouTube video that said, the best Mass Effect 3 ending. And the description of what you had to have to get this ending was clearly a joke. It was like, you have to have 10,000 military strength and all the fish in your fish tank and every ship model in your ship model display and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, this is clearly a joke, but let me see where they're going with it. You play the video, and it shows kind of the beginning of the final cutscene of the game, and then it cuts to the scene in Mass Effect 1 where Shepard wakes up on the Normandy after getting knocked unconscious by the Prothean beacon on and so that cracked me up.
It was all a dream.
Yeah.
Mr. Xcalybr, I want to hear some Vita stuff, and I want to hear not the new and shiny, but I want to hear the novelty sort of wearing off and where you are on the excitement scale, like right now.
All right. Well, the new and shiny was nice.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm telling you, like I couldn't sleep for a week waiting for that thing to come in the mail, and I finally got it. I opened it up, and it's beautiful. I thought when I first got it, I went online and I read some of the reviews on Wipeout and Uncharted. Those were like the two I got it first and, were playing the most of. And they both kind of got 8s, I think. Wipeout might have had like a 7.75 or something, but average right around, 8s. And I was sitting there like, it's the best game I ever played. I don't know how they give them 8s. 10s guaranteed, if not, definitely 9s. And then I went to Hawaii and I played, Uncharted pretty much like every night before I went to bed. I'll tell you one thing, the game is long. It has 34 chapters.
Jeez.
It's only single player. And I mean, on chapter 18, I thought I was about done.
Wow.
The game is long. I played it the entire time I was gone, on the airplane both ways. I still haven't beaten the game yet. I'm on like chapter 27 or 8. They're going a little quicker as it goes on. But the one thing I can say is, graphically, the screen is amazing. Hands down, the screen is just gorgeous. Like I watch Netflix on my handheld Vita in my bed instead of on my HD TV because the screen looks better. It's a clearer screen. It looks nice. It's fantastic. The speakers on the system are fantastic as well. Way louder than the old PSP. You could easily sit here and watch a movie or Netflix or whatever you want to watch on it and hear it without headphones. But when you plug the headphones in, it's a lot nicer than the old one because you can't turn the volume all the way up. You'll turn the volume about halfway and you'll pretty much have the speakers to full blast. So you don't have to, try and you're never going to have a problem hearing the speakers. I bought the PlayStation Vita Sony brand headphones, earbuds they were $19. Probably the best investment I had because they were nicer than the earbuds I already had. They're better than the Beats by Dre earbuds that I paid $100 for.
Wow.
Pretty much the exact same thing, but they're lighter, so they stay in your ear better. So I'll buy another pair. And there's an inline microphone.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So you can, if you're using if you're doing the internet thing, playing games or whatever, you can just buy these headphones and you have a headset. You can talk. You don't have to buy any kind of extra pieces for it.
That's pretty nice.
Oh, it's really nice.
Yeah.
The one thing I did notice is, all the apps work pretty well. There was a complaint about whenever you see stuff on the screen, you have to tap it once to go into its own little menu and then start it again. So it's an extra step. It's not really an issue because when you realize that when you're playing the game, say I'm playing Uncharted or I'm playing Wipeout, wherever I am, if I'm mid cutscene in Uncharted, I'm mid race in Wipeout, I hit the little PlayStation button, game pauses immediately, instantly pauses, goes to like a home, it just kind of blacks out and it pauses the game. So anytime, all I have to do is hit that button again, I'm right back into the screen. I can leave the game and check out my menu or go to different features. So you don't have to, you can do different things while you're playing the game to check other stuff in your PS Vita menu, but you can't start another application without closing your old application. So you couldn't go ahead and just, start Netflix and watch it while you keep your Uncharted game paused. It's not going to work that way. You can save it wherever you like and start the game back up there, but it won't stay paused that way. The graphics are amazing. The dual analog sticks, when you play this thing, it's what you've been waiting for the entire time. I was kind of mad at PlayStation for holding out on me for so long because I was like, just give me another analog stick. But if they would have came out with two of those little fidgety things that they had on the PSP, none of us would have been satisfied. So, I mean, it's amazing. I'm sitting there playing it. People on the plane, I got old ladies next to me on the plane like, what is that? I'm like, none of your business. Stop trying to look at my shit. But it's just fantastic. I mean, the R and L buttons are great. The back touchscreen is the only thing that's a little suspect. And the only way I say it's suspect is because we're not used to it. So it's going to take a little while to get used to. When you have your hands on it, the screen is pretty much the entire back. So when you hold it on the ends, if you're using a game that just any kind of touch on the back makes things happen in the game, you're going to have to hold it a certain way to make sure your fingers don't accidentally touch the back screen. But most of the games that I've played are all novelty type things where, like Uncharted, if you go to jump and have to swing on a rope, you can climb up and down the rope by moving your hand on the back of the Vita instead of using, the analog stick on the front. The shooting is a little touchier than it would be on a console because they're so small. They don't have as much room to move. But I think that's something that'll just get fixed with software. And the first games that came out, Uncharted worked. It's adequate. Uncharted never had great shooting to begin with or aiming. So, I mean, you're getting what you think you're getting. But the thing is, a lot of these games that came out at first are a little too gimmicky. And when I say this, I mean, I told Steve the other day, there's a gyro, or I don't know, 6-axis gyroscope, whatever you want to call it. It's motion sensitive inside the Vita, right? So say you walk across, kind of like picture God of War. You know how in God of War, when you walk across a log or something, he'll all of a sudden have to catch his balance and you have to move this controller back. Yeah. All right, well, he does that, and then, depending on how fast you move him across the log is how much you have to adjust your movements with the motion sensing. Well, not on the Vita. Or not, I don't want to say that. Not on Uncharted. Uncharted, once they teach you how to walk across a log and it stops 3/4 of the way and you adjust, and he puts his arms out and he balances himself and he finishes walking across the thing. Well, every single log that you walk across, he stops 3/4 of the way, he puts his hands out, you balance him and you walk. There's not a log that you cross that makes you do it more than once, and there's not a log that you cross that makes you do it in a different spot. There's not a log that you cross that makes you not do it at all. So every single time you're going to cross a log, just get ready because 3/4, you're going to put your arms out, you're going to move, and you're going to do it. And
so it's just a collision box and that's it.
Exactly. And it kind of takes the fun out of it. Some of the story elements get a little bit repetitive. The story's great. The voice acting's fantastic. It looks amazing. I can't believe they've done it on a handheld. but you can tell that it was a little rushed, and some of the games feel shoehorned, for lack of a better word, onto the system. Just they kind of overly feature rich it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they put every single feature in it
thing.
just because they want to. But in none of those ways has the game's been bad. I would say all of them are great. I understand where Uncharted got an 8 because it's not up to the 9 or 10 that the console is. It's just it's a little too repetitive in some of the features that they try to shoehorn it, and the story's great, but it's not fantastic.
Well, how about two questions? One, would it have been better if it was shorter?
No.
And number two, it seems like Uncharted was sort of the feature creep thing, where they just added everything in that utilized one part of the hardware. And do you kind of see that rear touchscreen maybe as a feature that sort of dissipates from software in the future because it's so weird?
No, the rear touchscreen is amazing, and the reason I say that is because there's buttons missing on this console. There's no R3 button, there's no L3 button, there's no R2, there's no R.
So
there's no R2 or 3, there's no
something.
L2 or 3. So you're going to need a place for those buttons to be, and they're going to be the touches on the back. Whether they're swipes or presses, you can put your finger wherever you want. Once you get a Vita and you get used to the touchscreen being there, and the back of it actually makes a difference, and developers figure out a way for it to only be used when it's necessary and not to accidentally mess up the gameplay, I think it'll be fantastic. These first launch games are probably... I've never played a better handheld launch game in my life than Uncharted.
Yeah.
It's console quality where I say it looks fantastic and it plays great. The dual analog changes the entire way you play games. That I can walk around and look at my actual environment and see where I'm supposed to go. It sounds like something that is just, that you would just assume like, it's supposed to be there, but we've never had it before. So I think it's fantastic. I would say that the launch games came out, I would give them all 8s now that I would, not 10s, because once you get deeper, some of the features wear off. But I mean, none of them were bad except for little deviants. Don't buy the game if you got it in a box. Trade it in, unless you have a little kid that wants to play it. But I mean, the game, it's just a tech demo. Do you know what I mean? It's a tech demo that the games do better than it does. So I loved Wipeout. I got Hot Shots, which was actually really fun. Mutant Blobs was great, and Escape Plan really good.
Good downloadable stuff right off the bat,
fantastic
too.
downloadable, and it's cheap. And the downloads, Tales from Space Mutant Blob is $7.99. Escape Plan, I think, was $2.99.
That's what I'm interested in is Escape
and I mean,
Plan.
like
That looks awesome.
games with great graphics that are still the price of downloadable iPod and iPad games. That's where the future is going to be at. It downloads super fast. I'm telling you, this thing downloads quicker than my PS3 does.
That's not saying much.
And the PS3, we all know it isn't saying much, but it's definitely faster than my PS3. I'm downloading whole gigs of games. I downloaded Tower Heist. I think it was a gig, maybe a gig and a half to download. Took me, I think, about 40 minutes to download. Maybe not quite 40, like 30 minutes maybe. And I mean, for a little handheld that I'm going to watch a movie on it, and once it downloaded, it streamed the movie. It never once glitched out. I mean, granted, it did download it, but it worked perfectly. Netflix works fantastic, except for one problem. The only faults for the system that I'll give it is, one, the 3G version, and two, the Netflix freezing. Netflix, if you watch Netflix on the system and have to stop the Netflix or pause it for any reason, say you want to go to the bathroom, get a sandwich, something like that, you pause the Netflix. If you go to get something and come back and leave it to the point where it gets out of sleep, the longest you can let it stay out of sleep mode is 5 minutes. There's a 1, a 3, and a 5 minutes. So if you leave for more than your sleep mode time and it goes back into sleep, you then have to exit out of Netflix and go back into it, because for the most part, I think it happened pretty much 95% of the time I did it. Once or twice it worked. But if you try to just start it back up, it just sits there and it freezes. You can't just exit out of the application. You have to start another application, which will ask you to leave the Netflix application. You say yes, and then you immediately go right back in the Netflix application and start it again. It was just a 3-step process that kind of seemed to pull me out of my Sons of Anarchy when I was trying to watch it. And the last thing I'll say about it, really, unless you guys have questions after that, is just, the other thing, there's teeny, the select and start buttons are so small, like I don't even know why they're there. You'll never hit them on accident, but you won't hit them when you're trying to either. So that's just a design flaw. Not a huge one, though, because you don't hit them often. But the only thing is I got a 3G version, all right? And I got it not because I think I want to play multiplayer when I'm away from home, because I won't really. I got it because I was thinking maybe in the future there'll be features that use the 3G for certain games, or maybe Sony will scrap the price thing, or you never know what's going to happen with it. I don't want to be missing a feature to a product and have to rebuy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so when I was on vacation, I started watching a lot of Netflix, like I said, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if this works on the plane or at least at the airport when I have to wait. I have a couple layovers. That way I can continue watching this show. So I downloaded the 3G. I bought the 3 gigabyte one because I didn't know how much space would be used up by time, and I didn't want to get cut off of an episode watching it because I didn't have enough memory.
Yeah.
So I did it, or bandwidth or whatever, So I did it. I get to the airport, sitting there playing some Uncharted, and I was like, forget this. I want to watch some Sons of Anarchy. So I put it on. I go to watch it. No Netflix. This application must be connected to Wi-Fi. I'm like, what? I can't use my Netflix unless I'm near a Wi-Fi signal. You can't use it on the 3G.
Yeah. And
there were other features that I tried to use. I can't think of the top of my head that were only Wi-Fi enabled. So now you're giving me a feature that I have to pay for that it's not compatible with all your services. And I'm not going to sit there and play Wipeout for hours on end that I need to buy a 3G card for it, or I don't have to pay extra money for that. I'll just do it at home. But I do like to watch videos and stuff like that when I'm out, and it's not an option at the moment, at least anyway.
Yeah.
They did give a free game out the other day, about a week or two ago. They gave you a free MotorStorm.
Yeah.
RC. They gave that out for free. That was nice. And they have been giving out little free demos and little free stuff to early adopters, at least anyway. So all in all, I love my Vita. I play it at home. Other than playing my console, I'll sit in bed and watch it. It's a fantastic device, and it's only in the beginning. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to get anywhere but better. The price will drop. The 3G hopefully becomes useful. But other than that, I love it, man. I can't recommend it enough. If you want a handheld, go buy it. I don't even know if I'm going to play my 3DS again.
I'm glad they added the second analog stick. That was what I thought was really missing from the PSP. I'm too old and half blind to enjoy mobile gaming, really.
I understand. I kind of felt the same way. If I wasn't going on vacation for that long of a flight, I don't think I would have bought it either. But now that I have, I'm kind of amazed by it, to tell you the truth.
Well, I have three little things, and I think you covered two of them. Was the fact of if and when I do get one, it will be the 3G one, just in case. Number two, I'm definitely waiting until after E3 because I have a funny feeling that they're going to be dropping it.
Yeah, I would think so.
And
they might drop features and re-release it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, something is going to happen, and I don't want to blow my wad now until and see what happens. But number three, the Circle Pad Pro for the 3DS, as cumbersome as it is a welcome addition. That second thumbstick is awesome. So,
see, when you compare them to the 3DS, I'll go with this super nice screen and better analog stick over a 3D game with that little teeny screen and an added circle nub every time. I think It's just the screen is. Forget the 3D. I'd much rather have a nicer screen than a 3D screen all day.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But to tell you the truth, like I could see myself doing both. I mean, for me,
yeah. But
I've been having a blast with Resident Evil. I mean, I think I'm getting
seen it on. Wait till the Resident Evil comes out on Vita. I won't find any on the 3DS.
I know. I kind of can't wait. But I do want one. It's just that I think it may be wiser for me to bide my time.
Wait till they iron out the niggles.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan, real quick. There's been kind of something that took over our life this past week, huh? Us and about 10 or 15 other people.
Yeah. It's been something quite fun. That old draw something, I guess you're referring to. Yeah.
Draw something on iOS and Android, and I think BlackBerry too, I want to say, and Facebook. But somebody was telling me on Facebook that it's called Draw Your Thing or something like that. I don't even know what that even means, but a lot of people could misconstrue that. But I'm hooked on this. I'm hooked.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I played it quite a bit whilst I was playing Mass Effect. Load screens or whatever. I just quickly draw something.
Yeah.
At least that was the plan. You soon end up getting loads of stuff and loads of other goes, and suddenly a few seconds has taken 10, 15 minutes of.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of got as far as we can, haven't we?
Yeah. And I'll let you kind of describe it, but we did hit turn 99, and we can go no further. We can keep going, but it doesn't take that down into consideration. No.
But it's kind of just basically like Pictionary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pictionary for two people.
Yeah.
It's good fun.
With a little puzzle thrown in.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
a word scramble at the bottom. It gives you 12 random letters, but depending on how many letters the answer is to your drawing, it'll give you that amount of letters and then the other to fill in randomly.
Yeah.
To 12. Yeah. So normally, I don't think any longer than 8 letters. I don't think.
I don't think so. And I am a terrible, terrible drawer. Like, I can't draw for crap. But
well, I beg to differ. Yours have been the easiest, probably for me. I think. I mean, obviously, we're at 99 on a streak.
Yeah. But I try to make them obvious. And that J-Lo was a bit of a cheat.
That was bad.
So I can't draw J-Lo. I'll put a J and then a down arrow. That'll do.
Did you like my stick figure MC Hammer?
I haven't seen that yet.
I think that was the one I sent you this afternoon. It's like a stick figure with red parachute pants on and gold glasses, and then a picture of a hammer right next to it.
How do you find friends?
You can either add by email, by Facebook ID, or just a username.
Yeah.
So, and obviously mine is the same as everywhere else. So I have to sort of add that to my pre-show and post-show repertoire.
Yeah, mine's Hardlydan. If you fancy having a go. I've also been playing another quick game on my phone. If I can just slide that in. Dead Space on Android.
I'm kind of mad about that. I bought it. It is not compatible with my phone.
Apparently it's not compatible with my phone, but it works.
I wonder if I could download the APK somewhere and try it. Maybe it'll work that
might
way.
Be able to.
You know what's crazy? It says it's compatible with my Generation 1 droid, my OG droid, but not my Razer Max.
Yeah, well, the store says it's not compatible with my phone, just like it said that with Grand Theft Auto 3 and a few other games, and it works absolutely fine.
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can download the APK or something somewhere, which means I'll probably have to pirate it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, but I might have to.
But if they're not giving you the option to buy it.
Not my fault. I'm absolved.
Yeah.
I'm absolved.
Well, not really, but.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, having you on the show this time was sort of, it sort of serves a dual purpose.
It's my punishment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay.
Not only did I want you on to talk about some Mass Effects, you did send an email after the last show, and it is entitled 10 to 15 hours, lols.
Yeah. And it probably would have taken you that long to read it out on the show, which is probably why you brought me here. After I finished writing this email, I was like, holy crap, that's a very long email.
Yeah, it's pretty long, but the sentence structure is beautiful, sir. I will say that.
I do pride myself on my sentence structure. It's
nice to have an email with punctuation.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think I'm the opposite of Yoda the Third in that I overuse punctuation. Like, I put too many... Like, I would drive Duke Scath crazy because I put too many commas in everything. I'm certain.
Yeah, I do too. I use commas like crazy, and I am on a single-man mission to bring the semicolon back into coolness.
bringing sexy back.
Semicolons are awesome.
Yeah, semicolons are great.
Yes.
So, here's the deal. You were kind of laughing at me because Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and I thought that I had maybe 10 or 15 hours left because I had, at that point, I'm like, I really don't want to do any side stuff anymore. I just want to go to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Since I put it back in after Mass Effect, that has not been happening. I've been mapping out every area a la MMO, sort of obsession.
Yeah.
As I do. Getting my cartographer on, if you will. But I just kind of wanted to go over this, and I figured we could discuss a little bit of Kingdoms of Amalur. We've kind of covered it on the show before, but I think there's still a little bit more to talk about. So this says, "Greetings, Gamesmen. Like you, I have been loving Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I don't know how much time you have put in. I've just gone over 100 hours. I have 25 open quests and 100 completed quests. I have finally gotten to the east side of the river in the middle, which I just got there yesterday, and you have obviously since then finished the game." But you said, "I am still loving the game. I agree with some of your points. The Sons of Laz, the zombies, were annoying and pointless. But luckily, you don't see them in one area of the map, and you don't have to go there very often." Yeah, kind of stupid. But yeah, they were only in one place.
You do. So I did see him again later.
Did you?
But again, only a very brief encounter. So the thing that annoyed me about him the first time is one of them hit me, and that one hit managed to give me like a curse that I had to go see a healer about. I was like, well, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But later on, it turns out that the random number generator just happened to be on give you a curse when that thing hit me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was okay. They're easy to kill once you level up. A little bit of lightning, a little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning, and they go down. Yeah.
Yeah. The Crudocs are driving me up a wall now.
Yeah, those are tough.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Yes.
God. Yeah. So you went on to say, "I have noticed that there are some memory issues from time to time." And yeah, man, something weird. I mean, it hasn't really happened to me since that one time, but there is something going on there.
Yeah, there's a few coding errors. I mean, it's their rookie effort.
Yeah.
Oh, so what I was talking about is one of the might spells sorcery spells is a protection ward, puts a sphere of protection around you. And if you upgrade it, it has these little orbs that orbit around you and will damage your enemies if you get close to them. And it was really funny because I kept noticing they weren't recharging after they were used up. I was like, well, what the heck? Why isn't it working? Deactivated the spell, reactivated it, still nothing. I was like, whatever. I wasn't really needing them. So after I finished the mission I was on and I went back outside, I ran over to this one area, and there they were. All four of them just kind of stuck. It stuck there, doing nothing. Somewhere that I guess I had been standing earlier. And that struck me as really odd.
Yeah.
Considering I had left that area, loaded an entirely new map, and then come back to that area. Usually that kind of resets everything. So it was just kind of funny. I was like, whatever. Once, I saved the game and restarted, and everything was fixed. So
I honestly think that Ken Ralston is a carrier for Bethesda-itis. I mean, it doesn't affect him, but it affects what he touches. He passes it on to everybody else. So let's see. You did say all that. You saved it and you restarted the game and it was all fixed. Now, your one big gripe, sir, is that now you have reached the second act. The combat has gotten more challenging, which is to be expected, but the rewards for killing the enemies haven't gotten better.
Right. It's in the item drops. So you kind of reach the maximum item drops about the time that you cross over the east side of the river.
Yeah.
As far as, the metal armor. So I did a brawler magic build, so I'm using metal armor and swords.
Yeah.
So, you have iron, steel, azurite, silverite, and then prismere, and that's the best metal you can get is the prismere. So once you get there, you can't get anything better. So you don't get any great item drops after that. The amount of XP that you get for killing those enemies, while more than it was for some of the lower level enemies, it takes a lot longer. It's not really any harder because if you level up properly, you're almost invincible. But it just takes longer to take those guys down. So it's like I can fight a small group that takes 3 to 5 minutes to clear out and get about 1,000 XP, or I can go back to the other side of the river and clear out 9 or 10 enemies in about 30 seconds and get about 1,000 XP.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I thought it should have ramped up a little faster.
Well,
but maybe that's because I spent too much time doing side quests and overloading.
Well, that could be possible too. The one thing that bugged me when I first, and I realized this as soon as I got over to the other side of the river, man, I got a Prismere chestplate, and now all of a sudden here I'm supposed to be the good guy, and I look exactly like the Tuatha.
Yeah, that annoys me as well.
That's kind of crap.
I thought they could have easily fixed that with, so you select your metal, but if you're doing custom crafting, why not just have a set of 8 or 9 appearances that you can, choose and let you customize the colors?
Yeah.
But, again, it's their first. I mean, I'll give them a buy because the game is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of fun. I'm working on this article now. I've already done some mock-up images and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky I didn't lose anything when I had this whole PC meltdown. That Mass Effect 3, I know, that was a couple segments ago. But Mass Effect 3 makes me want a Star Fox.
Okay.
In that sort of vein, okay? But with combat sort of like the Star Fox Adventures, but good. Like if you could take the combat from Kingdoms of Amalur and throw that into like a Star Fox game that is set in space and add the one thing that's a no-brainer for the Mass Effect series that I can't believe was never in there, which was space combat.
You think?
Oh, man, that would be... But keep it lighthearted.
Yeah.
And you could still do conversation trees and things like that and not make them too in-depth, not have the choices really play out the way that the Mass Effect stuff does. But I mean, I think it's time for something like that, and that's a series that nobody's heard from in a long time, to sort of take a step toward the more mature.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm with you in that I'm ready for a good space combat game a la Wing Commander, TIE Fighter, something like that brought up to current gen. I'm not sure it fits in Mass Effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I'm all about it. I love space combat, space fighter games. I just wish there were some good ones on the current gen.
I mean, imagine flying to a mission point with Falco, Slippy, and Peppy on your wings. You know what I mean? And then you get out, you can select who you want to take with you, and you get out and you have like this Kingdoms of Amalur style combat. It would be great. In addition to some really good space combat and some really interesting cutscene, conversations a la Mass Effect would be awesome. Man. But anyway, I don't know. While we're still on Amalur, Yuri, how far have you gotten into Amalur?
I'm not really sure. I played it for, a couple, 6-hour days before I left. I haven't played it for, at least three weeks. Far enough that I know that I have tons of weapons. The one thing about this game that scratches my itch is that you're always getting better stuff. Like I've been playing Skyrim, and it seems like I just get tons of just crap that I have to keep selling, and I get more crap, I have to sell and get more crap. I'm like, can I just get something cool? Like, where's the cool stuff I got in Oblivion? And I know you got to search for it, but I got to put 100 hours in to find the sword I want.
Yeah.
Where in Amalur, you're constantly, every 10 minutes, I'm like dropping old stuff to equip the new stuff.
Yeah.
And it seems easy to look through. I don't really know how far I am story-wise. I've been doing a lot of side quests, and then I was kind of getting bored. They seemed a little fetchy, and so I started doing a little more of the main quest, trying to find out why I'm in the game, what I'm doing, where the world is. And I'm really getting into it, though. It is a little cartoony looking, and the story hasn't grabbed me, say, like a Mass Effect or something has yet, but the game has itself. I just can't stop playing the game, and that's why we play them, right, for the most part.
Yeah.
And so, it's probably one of the best playing games I've played in a long time. Magic, because I always want to be a magician, but whenever you pick a magician or a sorcerer or whatever, you always kind of get left out in the cold on the axes and the swords and the shields. So you're like, but then when you pick those, you don't get any magic. So it's hard for me to choose a lot of times. Where this one, it's like you can switch it in the middle of the game if you want. Respect your points. You can change any kind of like buffs that you add to your character. I can't think of for Kurt Schilling's first game for his studio. I can't think of a better first entry. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Considering how buggy that demo was, whew. My game hasn't shot. I got stuck one time behind a wall because I shouldn't have been there. It's like I almost tried to glitch out. I just restarted the save and I was good.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love the game. I'm not, I'm probably about 10 to 15 hours into, maybe close to 20, but mostly side questage. I can't recommend it enough. I tell all of my action game friends to play it and all of my RPG friends to play it because there's really no reason not to.
So I did encounter one really bizarre thing as I was running into the very last sort of outdoor area before you get into the last fortress that you need to go through. The frame rate just all of a sudden dropped to like 2 frames a second. And I wasn't sure what was going on. So I was like, all right, this isn't good. So I noticed that I got an autosave right before that happened. So I went back to the dashboard and reloaded the game, and it was still doing it. Really weird. So I managed to bring up the map because it was like the frame rate was really slow, and it also wasn't responding to any button presses. But it at least responded to the back button and let me bring up the map. I fast traveled to the last discovered location that I had found, cleared it up, ran back into the area. Everything was fine. I don't know what caused that. It was just really bizarre, but it was a nice and simple fix, so it wasn't that big a deal. It was just really strange.
I think that's one of the biggest things. Whenever games have glitches, especially in the era we're in where you can fix it with an update, a lot of these games just they're bigger games with hidden glitches. But the one thing I can say about a game, which I could say about this one, was if you're going to get the glitch, I don't want to lose all my progress or get stuck where I have to, it's hard to resave, or you know what I mean? Like this one, it seems like if you got a glitch, you should have a bunch of saves behind you, or at least a way to get out of it, like you said with the fast travel. Because I used to get caught in Fable behind doors, and I would lose hours of time because just the way the save system was and how I got sick, you know? This
is more of a single-player MMO for an ADD person.
Perfect for me.
You know?
Yeah.
And to me, it's a good game for me to catch up on podcasts and stuff with. Because I really don't care what anybody even says.
Yeah, I find myself skipping most of the conversations.
Yeah.
Especially the side quest conversations.
Yeah, they're useless.
It's just like what you were saying, you know, like the hook for this game, the thing that keeps me coming back to it is unlocking new abilities, finding new awesome weapons, doing the blacksmithing to make your own weapons because they're much better than what you find anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that amazed me at how good the constructed weapons are. I mean, when you craft them, you have a clear advantage for about 4 or 5 levels.
Yeah. So I hope, fingers crossed, toes crossed, spin around 3 times. I hope that when they release the upcoming DLC, which is going to feature pirates, which is fine by me, I love pirates, that they increase the level cap. Because I'm already at level 40, so I want them to up the level cap so I can continue to upgrade my character.
All right. Well, thank you for the email, Chris. And it's kind of weird to thank somebody in person for their email, but
over the phone, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
In digital person,
in quote unquote person,
virtual.
I will say that so far 2012 has been great for me. This is like my year, man. Like we start out with Final Fantasy 13-2, then I get Kingdoms of Amalur, and then I get Mass Effect 3, and then after that I get Xenoblade Chronicles at the beginning of next month. Then I'm getting Diablo 3 on May 15th, and then the last story on like the 19th of June. This is like a 6-month erection for me. This is awesome.
And don't forget about Dragon's Dogma.
I'm not sure about Dragon's Dogma. I might have to check that one out. Yeah. Sure. Man, I tell you what, this is like the year of Steve. Like 2012 is the year of Steve.
It's the year of Jeff.
So far. Yeah, the year of Jeff. Jeff to the rescue. All right, let's kind of clean this up and do this thing. Shout-outs, CP.
Just a quick list of shout-outs. We had a good gang together on Saturday for a little bit of Forza 4 mashup. So thanks to David the Alien for hosting that and for everyone else who showed up. Shout-out to Sid Real Sunrise and the Real Defoe from the Lousy at Gaming community. They teamed up with me for the BioWare Community Challenge this weekend, which was to defeat the Reapers on silver difficulty in the multiplayer to earn a unique weapon unlock. So thank you much for the help on that. And by the way, check your Mass Effect 3 multiplayer if you're on the Xbox 360 or PC Tuesday, because the community defeated more than 1 million brutes this weekend, so BioWare is going to give us all something cool as a reward.
Awesome. You know, nice. I tried my first silver match with Firewalk on Twitter, and silver is a completely different ball game, man. Completely different.
You gotta level up the weapons as well as the powers. You know how when you buy the packs, you can get a weapon that you already have, and so it just upgrades that weapon 1 level.
Mm-hmm.
You get, not only does that increase the damage and the ammo capacity of the weapon, it also reduces the weight, so you can carry more powerful weapons and still keep your power recharge bonus.
Interesting.
So it's important to do that. So yeah, that was cool. And lastly, I just would like to shout you guys out. Thanks for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure.
No problem, man. Glad to have you. I might as well just shout you out real quick now. So, thank you very much. But Xcalybr, how about you?
Shout out to the world. So easy. I love it, dude. Nobody forgotten. And I don't know, man. Just you're right. 2012 is going to be a great year for games. I can't wait. And just hit me up, Xcalybr 713. Figure out how to spell it somewhere.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, shout out to the charity Raspberry Pi for that fantastic computer they're producing, and a friend of mine who's getting into a load of Android gaming and hopefully getting himself a 360 and into some PC gaming, and that's at J Tansley, Jtansle on Twitter. He's a good chap. You should check him out.
Sweet. Well, as far as me, my shout-outs, first off, like I said, on Twitter, Firewalk. Had a good time. We played that, tried that silver challenge, and got our shit handed to us. And, everybody playing some Draw Something. Einstein Basile, Amorous 89, Pete Red Dog, Zerwing, Marcanix, my wife, who is Congo on Twitter, C0NG0, Easton Arrow, GamerGirl27, Big Rob 029, Yoda the Third. My God, this is driving me up a wall.
That's why I say the world.
The world. And also, VGHub.net. There is a ton of great gaming content at VGHub.net. So, Chris, your web for the week to come. Where can people find you this week?
You can find me on your Xbox Live with the previously mentioned gamertag CPM1376, CPMatthew on PlayStation Network and Steam. You can also find me hanging out at Gaming for the Elderly, www.g4te.com. Come check out our forum. And, of course, the official podcast of the Gaming for the Elderly community, The Overseas Connection with Mr. Murphy's Law.
Yeah, awesome show. Great show.
We have fun.
Xcalybr, web for the week to come, brother.
I'll be on my Xbox for most of the week. X space CALYBR space 713. You should be able to find me maybe on my PlayStation 3 because I'll probably be playing Journey one more time. It's These Nuts in Your Mouth. DEEZNYO. Oh, I'm sorry. Man, I can't even spell my own name. DEEZNUTZNYOMOUF. That's about it.
God, it never gets old. Dan, web for the week to come.
As ever, you can find me Hardlydan on just about everything. That's Xbox, Steam, Twitter, Raptor, Gameloft.
Gameloft.
Yeah.
Best rip-off artist on the map.
Yeah, but they do some good racing games.
Yeah.
Where can we get hold of you, Steve?
Well, for me, I am JSSLIFELIKE pretty much everywhere. That's PSN, that's Xbox Live, that's Steam, that's Skype, that's Twitter, that's even Draw Something. Yes. So check me out on there. iTunes reviews, Dan.
Yeah, we love them. We want them.
Yes.
Write them.
Please. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Also, the Gamesmen on Stitcher. So if you have the Stitcher Radio app on your phone, you can catch the Gamesmen on Stitcher. And just a little side note, we were listed on MediaFly, on the MediaFly Gaming Network.
Mm.
Now they're kind of shutting the doors. I think they were bought by somebody corporate or something, and it's just not going to exist anymore. So Stitcher is not going to, or not Stitcher, but MediaFly is not going to be an option, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because then it's not on my Roku box anymore. So that kind of sucks. But we want more voicemails. Xcalybr.
Call the RPG hotline at 412-267-RPG1.
Thank you very much, sir. Also, you can email us at thegamesmanrpg@gmail.com and twitter.com/thegamesmanrpg. So that's about it, boys. Thank you very much.
It's one more thing, Steve.
Huh?
You can also listen to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thegamesmanrpg.
God, I forgot. Dan, you're making me look like shit, man.
Saving your bacon.
Yeah. All right, boys. That's it. So on behalf of Mr. Hardlydan, on behalf of Xcalybr, and on behalf of CPMatthew, I am Lyfeliek. We're the Gamesmen. And until next time, we ask...
What role will you play?
Yeah, so I'm really excited.
Hold on a second, real quick. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Must be important.
Yeah, it's bowels of going
I
in.
doubt it.
Bubble Guts returns.
What's BGs mean? I'm nervous. I'm about to shit on myself. That was just on yesterday or the day before.
Captain Bubble Guts.
All right.
My name is Simon, and I like to make drawings. You looking at my bum?
Yeah.
You bum looker.
Cheeky monkey.
Cheeky monkey. That was my shit.
We want more voicemails. Xcalybr.
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Love those voicemails.
Yeah, read that thing.
I don't know, read what thing?
At the bottom of the show notes.
I'm glad it's not just the overseas connection that has these moments.
Hold on.
We could just as easily.
We want
replace
more
this with-
voicemails. Call the RPG hotline at 412-267-RPG1.
That could have just as easily been Greg DeLacy and Mike Chen having that conversation.
Not fully satisfied with the podcast, please return any portions for a full refund.
So you can run and tell that, homeboy.
All right, guys, we're clear. Mr. Xcalybr has turned his Skype connection off, and we're going to talk a little bit of this ending controversy of Mass Effect 3. So Dan, I kind of want to hear from you first. Your thoughts on the end of the game. Should we establish a baseline? Why don't you tell us what happened, what you chose, and we'll go from there.
Right. Well, I did notice towards the end of the game, it kind of basically tells you everything you've done is pointless, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, you get the three choices. I took the path on the right, I think it was, which was the destroy all AI choice.
Yeah, I did that too.
I really enjoyed that ending, actually. I thought it was quite nice. I'd liked seeing the Normandy crash land on that lovely planet with 2 moons or whatever it was, and Joker and I can't remember who else came out of the bit now.
Garrus, I want to say, and then James.
I had the Prothean and what's the name?
Oh, Ashley.
Ashley, that's it.
Not the real Ashley. This is the glamour shots Ashley.
Steroids Ashley.
Yeah, lip steroids.
Steroids and breast implants Ashley.
Yeah. No, I had no problem with that ending. I'm going to go back and play the others. I thought it was great.
Well, see, I kind of did the same thing. And, for reasons that I think I will get to here in a little bit. Chris, go ahead with the reasons why people are kind of up in arms.
So, best I can tell from watching a few videos, so Pudlight Mark put a video up in the thread on G4TE of this guy ranting about the ending. And what he's basically ranting about is that all the endings are really the same. And what I mean by that is, so I chose the middle path, and then after having watched that and kind of liking it, I wasn't smart enough to push save before I chose that path, and so I couldn't just go back and pick the other two real quick. So I went to the old YouTubes, because that's my friend.
That's kind of what I did too, yeah.
And I watched the other two, and I was like, oh, looks very similar, except one of them has a blue beam, and one of them has a red beam, and one of them has a green beam, and different people get out of the ship. So I was like, okay, I can see why they're a little bit angry about that. The other thing that I think people were a bit mad about is there's a lot of unanswered questions. One of which is, okay, now we've gathered essentially the entire combined military strength of the galaxy in orbit around the Earth, and we've destroyed the mass relays. So where are they all going to go? We got, several billion hungry mouths to feed and this burning wreck of a planet to feed them with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of a bit of a beef. And so really what it came down to is like you said, Dan, it seemed like in the end, it almost seemed like all your decisions didn't really matter. And I think that's what people were really mad about.
And see, I kind of don't see it that way. Like, to me, I obviously know that they had to have had a definitive place that they were going through the whole trilogy, obviously, right?
Yeah, the end of the story.
There had to be a definitive end to it. And yeah, you can change it a little bit, but to me, I honestly think that the end pretty much carried on the same thing that Mass Effect had done the whole time, is that it gives you a choice. Okay? It gives you a choice, you make a choice, and you shape the Mass Effect universe to come. And by that, I think that if there is going to be another Mass Effect game, they could start out pretty different, whether there's only human life or there is a new race.
Yeah.
Partly synthetic, partly organic. I mean, it could totally change the game's period. Like, there could be a divergence that could be completely unique.
Yeah. That becomes a real challenge. Again, that just becomes a huge technical challenge, I think.
For next-gen hardware, maybe?
Well, not so much for next-gen hardware. I think that goes to delivery.
Yeah.
If in the next generation we're going to go to digital delivery or streaming delivery, then that becomes much easier because EA and BioWare can house all the data that you need to access your particular Mass Effect universe there, and you can access it via the extranet.
Yeah.
As opposed to having to fit it all on a disc. We're so severely limited by the optical media right now, I think.
Or 6 discs.
Or 6 discs,
Yeah.
2 of which you wouldn't access if you chose the center path.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So then you're paying for content you're not getting, and nobody wants to do that. Or not using, I guess. I don't know. So to me, I kind of mentioned what people didn't like about it. I was happy with it. I like that there's some things left open for interpretation because I think the fact that we're having this discussion now is the mark of good storytelling.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
So let me kind of go through my post in that G4TE thread, and you can kind of stop me and pick me apart as I go. Okay?
Okay.
I get the whole stranded on Earth thing. I understand that plot hole. That's perfectly understandable that people have a problem with that. In hindsight, yeah, okay, it's not too well thought out, but how should that have went down? To me, if Shepard was still in communication when he was attempting to make the Crucible fire, then he should have somehow relayed a message to the fleet explaining the dire need to break off and warp home before making his choice. I mean, it took 5 minutes to hobble to either one of the 3 choices anyway, right?
It took a little while.
So, and all that really had to happen, and if they do indeed change this ending, and I would be perfectly happy if they didn't, but if they did, this is all they'd really have to do for me is, the Admiral says, okay, Shepard, non-human races have cleared the relay, and bam, then you make your choice, right?
Yeah.
So, that to me would make it a perfectly viable ending right there.
I kind of agree, but then you have to wonder if he was still in communication. He was kind of taken to this whole nother area of the Citadel, maybe the signal couldn't get in, couldn't get out. I don't know. But one of the things that, some people say, well, everything that happened after the laser beam hits you in London and you get up and start hobbling is a hallucination, is Harbinger trying to control Shepard.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you wouldn't have any choice.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't have any ability. And that thought was very interesting to me because then I got to thinking, okay, well, if that's the case, that makes those sort of awkward dream sequences fit a little more, right?
And they were pretty awkward.
Yeah. So you have are those dream sequences Valiant Commander Shepard dealing with his survivor's guilt? Or are those dream sequences Commander Shepard's mind trying to be controlled by indoctrination throughout the storyline? I don't know. That's for us to interpret, I suppose.
I thought that was pretty ingenious, that the catalyst itself was a manifestation of the life that he couldn't save.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think there's a great bit of storytelling that goes on in Mass Effect 3. And like I said, I think it's a great culmination. I still think, like I said, the first one is, a little bit more consistent as far as coherency's sake. But as for the whole party members resolutions thing, and I think this speaks to the relative infancy of storytelling in video games, because we're just, not quite there yet. But I'm not really sure that inference is a bad thing. I mean, how is it that Inception is hailed for having such a great narrative, but gamers want EA at BioWare's head on a platter for leaving things to be interpreted in the same manner?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get it. When I saw Joker and insert crew member's name here and insert crew member's name here step out of the ship, I automatically, in my mind, bridged the gap of, oh, sweet, the crew of the Normandy survived.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on that kind of changes if, okay, Edie didn't if you chose to destroy all synthetic life.
Right. So,
but I mean, as a just a basic inference there, the crew survived.
Yeah, I think that was good. So I told you I chose the middle ending, and I actually kind of liked that. So here's a couple things I really liked about the middle ending. So Edie has kind of the orange visor over her eyes the whole time. And then, but if you chose the middle ending, it's green now. And if you look carefully, Joker's eyes, instead of being brown, are now kind of a green, kind of digital contact lens effect. Same thing. I think I had Garrus come out of the ship. He had green eyes. So it showed that they all kind of now had this genetic trait in common.
Was it kind of like the Elusive Man? Was it that kind of thing?
Yeah, that similar kind of effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was also really clever that I noticed between the three endings, if you chose either the left or right path, when Joker came out of the Normandy, he was still kind of hobbling a little bit because of, I can't remember the name of it, but his brittle bone syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you chose the middle ending, the inference that I made, because he was walking upright, was that the blending of the synthetic with the natural life was able to repair that, and he was able to overcome it that way. So I thought that was, I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, so my last paragraph in this post was, so in the same as Bastion that I talked about a couple of shows ago, I chose the option that gave all organic life a mulligan, so they get a do-over, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I couldn't make any other choice in good conscience, because destroying the Reapers was the cornerstone on which I had promised to finish the war. I loved what the ending was. I loved what it represented. Huge plot hole aside. But to me, it doesn't take choice away from you at the end. Like I said, it does what it's done for 8 years now. It now gives you the options to shape your future for that universe. What I don't get is that, this ending supposedly sucks, but it was perfectly fine to bring the main character back from the dead, build him a new ship that mysteriously looks like the old one, except, it has a Cerberus paint job, get all of his buddies on board with a terrorist group, plus fight a 100-story tall T-600 Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It happens all the time.
That just doesn't get me. And that's my final point is, if you can't suspend your disbelief for video games, you deserve to feel cheated out of your $60, and I'm glad that you do. I mean, is that wrong?
Meh.
It's a little harsh, maybe.
Well.
That's how they roll in Steel Town.
That's how we do it.
I think the problem I had with the ending was that it was the ending. I knew that I was never, I can play the game again, but it's never going to feel the same.
Yeah.
That whole storyline's finished. They've said there's going to be more DLC. It's not the last we've seen of Shepard, but he's not going to be in another game. They've already said that.
Well, I mean, there is a little tiny hole in my heart where Mass Effect used to be.
Yeah, I need to find something to fill it.
I know, and that is kind of sad. I mean, I think that speaks to how great this trilogy was, and how much BioWare should be commended for actually delivering something that we've never ever seen before, which is a narrative over 3 games that allows you to bring yourself along the whole way.
Yeah, and what they've done is absolutely fantastic. I couldn't make a game anywhere near as good as I could make a game, and I'm just glad that there are companies out there like BioWare who produce stuff like this. It's just absolutely fantastic. I can't praise Mass Effect, the whole series, enough. Fantastic set of games. I'm gonna cry now.
Well, we'll all have a hug later.
Yeah. I just want to maybe get brain damage or something, so I forget about Mass Effect and can play it all again.
What did you say? Eternal Sunshine?
Yeah, that old memory wiping stuff. I wish that existed.
Perfect.
You'd only ever need 3 games then, wouldn't you?
That's true.
just start over every week.
Be like, man, this is the greatest thing I've ever played this month.
That's Halo.
Yeah.
It's from 10 years ago. What?
So who was it, Chris, in the thread? Was it you or Mark? I don't think it was Womble, but that had made the point of, and I love the little cutscene after the credits of the old man talking to the little kid, and he says, I want to hear another story about the shepherd, where they actually make him that he is the shepherd of humanity, and all the way at the end, full circle, does it come that his name is sort of born out of irony.
It was Mark that made the point about Shepherd's name, and how he had kind of become the shepherd, which was kind of cool, and a nice cameo by John Glenn there. Well done.
Yeah.
And sort of it was a start over, right? We're not traveling the stars anymore. We have to figure that out again.
Yeah.
So who knows where we're going again.
Pretty neat. I gotta admit, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. So at the end, so you said you made the choice to choose the red side to destroy the Reapers because that was what you said you were going to do.
Yes.
I kind of took that from a different perspective. I said I was going to save the races of the galaxy, and of those races were the Geth. Earlier in the game, I had made the decision that the Geth had gained, their intelligence was on a par with any other race in the galaxy, and so they deserve the same protection that anything else got. And so the only choice for me was the center option, the synergy option. The controlling the Reapers option seemed too far-fetched, too what's the point?
Yeah.
And so the only option for me was to save everyone by helping them take this next step. And so that's why I picked that.
Well, see, and I think the reason why my choice was made easier for me was that I inadvertently, and really didn't mean to, killed the Geth.
Well done.
Well, I didn't want to. I wanted to save them all, but that just didn't happen.
So can I ask what decisions you made in the game that led to that course of action?
I think it was that one bit where you choose whether or not to save the Geth, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it. But the thing is, I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen to the Quarians.
So you chose to kill the Geth in the first. You get 2 chances to make that decision, or I did anyway.
Okay.
So you chose the don't broadcast the upgrade option, and it went straight to a cutscene.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I got 2 goes.
No, I think I did get 2 goes, but I ended up stopping him because, she pretty much inferred, Tally, that it was going to wipe them out, and I didn't figure that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But by the same token, I mean, if it comes down to that fleet of the Quarians and the Geth, I got to take that Quarian fleet, man.
Yeah. So that was a bit of an odd sequence because as soon as it starts, Tally's like, you can't choose the Geth over my people.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes it seem like that's the only answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said no the first time, and then Legion goes crazy and starts pleading his case. And then I got a blue Paragon dialogue option. It's like, well, okay, but you guys have to get along. And then they were like, okay, fine, we get along. It's like,
well, that would have been nice. Jeez.
So that was a bit odd.
Yeah.
But it worked out well because I got both of them.
All right, boys. Any final thoughts?
I want more.
I have one last thought.
Okay.
And this is, I can't help it. I teach science, so I think science all the time. I was going back to the whole being stranded on Earth thing, right?
Yeah.
If you buy into the mythology of this universe and faster than light travel without the mass relays is possible, according to the Codex, faster than light means 21 light years in a day. So they're not really stranded on Earth. The diameter of the Milky Way is 10,000 light years.
Yeah.
So even though it would take a hell of a long time, you could get from one side to the other reasonably if you could travel 21 light years in a day. Now, there's a lot of physical reasons why you can't actually do that, but that's for another show. So yeah, I was just thinking about that. They're not actually stranded there. They they could find other planets.
Well, and
there's plenty of stuff in the Sol system. I mean, there's that old base on the moon. Some people can go over there.
Yeah, Mars.
Get some of the technology. Yeah. So it's not just stuck on the Earth. They've got plenty of ships.
Well, I think also, and I think you pointed it out, that the lifespans of a lot of these aliens, assuming that they were to be real, are a lot longer than the lifespan of an average human.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Chris. And
thank you.
Man, I had a good time, and hopefully we will catch each other in the multiplayer.
Yeah, I'll be looking for Jeff to save the day.
Jeff again. It all comes full circle to Jeff. All right, boys. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
See ya.